Good afternoon and mabuhay to my co-interviewer, Mr. Melvin Baldosa and Ms. Gazelle Langasa, especially to our guest, Mr. Roel Lodrino, a professional teacher of discipline and ideas in social science from Rizal High School, to be our interviewee for our final requirements in the foundation of shorthand. Before we start our interview session, let me first introduce the students part of this interview. I am Kimberly Gabino, together with my co-interviewer, Melvin Baldoza and Miss Giselle Longasa. A wonderful day with you, Sir. Well, how are you feeling today?
I'm great. I'm feeling good. Yeah. How about
Mr. Mr. Ruelo Gino, you are known as a
Lodronio?
or in the field of discipline and ideas of social science, or known as DISS, with your excellent knowledge and breathtaking criticism and professional behavior. Please tell us more about yourself.
Okay, I am Roel G. Lodronio. I'm a public school teacher. I've been a classroom teacher in the past 30 years. I started teaching in 1992, so that makes it 30 years. And I'm also a writer of textbooks. Okay, for 21 years already. And I had a short stint as writer of Maalaala Mo Kaya, MMK, at ABS-CBN. Yeah, and I'm now teaching at Rizal High School, Senior High School, and I belong to the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. That's it.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction of yourself, sir. Again, good afternoon, Mr. Roel Lodronio. Again, we would want to let you know that we are grateful you'd accepted our humble request to be part of this interview. Let me ask you the first question, sir. Exactly, what does your job entail po?
What does my job?
Entail po.
Okay, yeah. So as a teacher, first of all, you need to have the passion for teaching. You have to love teaching because because it is very taxing. Means it you need to do a lot of things. But most of all, you need to be learner centered. So to be a learner centered teacher, you need to have the passion, or you should love what you're doing. Because if you don't like what you're doing, it will reflect in your behavior in front of your students. So if you don't have the right passion, you would yeah, you would you would not be you would not have a pleasant appearance and pleasant aura in front of your learners. And I think that is not healthy in the teaching learning process. Because one of my mantras in teaching is that learners learn best when they are happy. So, and to be able to do that, the teacher should be happy so that the learners will also be happy. So it takes passion, and also in connection with that, a teacher should have a positive and growth mindset, because learners would have different needs. And to be able to address those needs, a teacher should practice equity, meaning you provide support according to the need of each learner. And also, lastly, teaching entails perseverance. You just have to keep on persevering to make the learners understand the topic, and um, to and to go through the process so that the learners will understand and so that learning will take place. So that's it. Passion, being positive, and perseverance.
Thank
That's
you
it.
for that, sir. Another question po is, what are the educational requirements for the position po?
Yeah, in basic education, meaning from kinder to grade 12, okay, to be able to teach in the public school, you should have a degree, a bachelor's degree in education, okay, and you need to pass the LET, no, the licensure exam for teachers. So those are the basic requirements, but it's even more difficult when you are applying in a school or in a division of the Department of Education, because aside from presenting your diploma and the proof that or your license as a teacher, you need to undergo a strict process for application. So you have to give a teaching demonstration. You need to pass a lesson plan. You need to go through series of interviews in the school, by the school principal, then by some supervisors at the division office. Okay, and the competition is stiff because there are a lot of applicants. So you will be ranked, and you will only be accepted if you ranked high, okay, in the list of applicants. And then uh, it is even more difficult when you are already teaching, because to be able to get promoted, you have to take up graduate courses, no, the masteral. So you have to finish a masteral. You are expected to take a masteral course and finish it, so you get promoted. And you don't stop also with masteral. You are also encouraged to take up doctorate courses, no, PhDs, or doctor in education, so that you go up in the ladder of the hierarchy. So from being a teacher, you get to be promoted to a master teacher. Or if you want to go to the other path of being principal or supervisor or even director levels. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
What a magnificent insight, Mr. Rowell. For the next question, what do you like the most or least about the job?
What I like most about the job is the fulfillment I get from teaching. So every time I see my learner learn from me or become happy because of the way I teach, that gives me fulfillment. Because I'm lucky that early on I realized that my purpose in life is to be a teacher. So I cannot imagine myself not being a teacher, because it's really my passion. It gives me happiness when I'm in front of my learners. According to my learners, I look prettier when I teach. It's because I enjoy teaching. Um, yeah, I don't get mad as a teacher, because that's one thing I've learned in my long experience as a teacher. Okay, you don't get mad because teaching is not about me as a teacher. Teaching is about the learners. So it's not about my mood. It's not about my emotion. My focus is always what is best for the learners. That is one thing, but that is something I really appreciate about teaching. Okay, and since it gives me fulfillment, I it makes me really happy. Okay, because the flip side of happy learners is a happy teacher, and that's why I'm I would retire as a teacher. So I've been teaching for 30 years, and I would continue to teach until retirement age. And the least thing about teaching is the lack of government support. I think, although the Department of Education gets the biggest slice in the budget, it's still not enough because there are still shortage of classrooms, shortage of teachers. So there is unbalance between access and quality of education. So DepEd is working at access, meaning getting as many students as they can, but quality suffers because there's lack of classrooms. So so there are overcrowded classrooms. There are classrooms that are beyond 50. That's too much. They won't fit. Learners will not learn if you are congested. And lack of teachers also. Okay. So with lack of classrooms and teachers, quality of teaching suffers. So that's the least thing I like about teaching, the lack of government support. And I think it's high time for the government to raise the salary of teachers because of high inflation rate, because a teacher has to spend his or her own money to make sure that there is quality of education there. Yeah. That answers your question. Next question.
Next question, sir. What future changes do you see in this field?
In the
In this
field?
field. Yes.
Okay. The first thing that comes to mind is in terms of technology, the role of technology in the teaching learning process. In the pandemic, we saw the need for all teachers, whether young or old, to be well versed with technology, especially during the distance learning when there is no face-to-face classes. The teacher should know how to operate Zoom, Gmeet. You need to to prepare PowerPoint, and you should know how to put the PowerPoint during online class. So if you are not well versed with technology, you will not be able to do it successfully. So I think that continues even after pandemic. There should be no one modality that would work. So it should be a combination of modalities or blended learning. So I don't see any problem with the young teachers because you're very well versed with technology, with different platforms. Yeah, so I think that would be one of the changes, and the role of technology in the teaching learning process. And I think another change would be how the teachers should have growth mindset because learners now are different from learners before, and um, there is always a change in every generation. So if our learners now are Gen Z, no, a few years from now it's going to be the Alpha generation, and there's a big contrast, okay, among generations. And the teachers who are usually Gen X like me and then the millennials would be very different from the learners. So a teacher should need to have the growth mindset, meaning we should be the one adjusting to the learners. So we should be aware of who our learners are and make adjustments accordingly. Because if there is generation gap, that would be an obstacle in learning. Just like now, some teachers, even if there's a department order that learners have the option to wear uniform or not, and the learners can have their hair dyed with other colors, or learners can wear earrings whether male or female. Some teachers, they still require, I mean, they still require learners to have uniform. They get mad when a student would have his or her hair colored, and they get upset when they see a male student wearing earrings. So they are not adjusting to the nature of the learners because of generation gap. So I think it's the teacher's role to adapt and adjust to the learners. Kasi if you kapag ipipilit mo yung henerasyon mo, it would be very difficult for you. There would be a problem with that. Okay, so that's it.
Thanks for that wonderful question, sir. Another question po. Mr. Lodronio, before you become a professional teacher, tell us a little bit of background about your past experiences and how these experiences prompt you to become a teacher.
Yeah, I can remember very well that as a child, uh, I used to play the role of a teacher. Okay, my some of my cousins and my neighbors would play the role of students, and I would be the teacher. That was around when I was grade 2 and grade 3. So I would play the role of a teacher, and also because my aunt is a teacher, so I grew up very close to my aunt who is a teacher. So she would bring me to her school, to her classroom, and yeah, I think that's one of the things that inspired me to become a teacher. Then when I was in high school, there's a movie that I watched. It's entitled Children of a Lesser God. It's a story about a story about deaf people, and it's a story of a deaf teacher. And in the movie they use sign language. I was very curious and interested about sign language. I was in fourth year high school then. So that's the time when you decide, which course will you take up in college. So I told myself I would like to become a teacher of sign language. So I took up special education in college. So yeah, and when I was a student in college, um, I really enjoyed teaching young learners. I think it's my God-given talent, no? Being a teacher, because my professors and what mentors would tell me, "Oh, you're very good," and they would give me high grades during teaching demo. Okay, so I was made to believe that I'm a very good teacher. So I pursued it. Yeah. And it's my teaching experience that led me to writing textbooks. Yeah. And it works for me both ways. Teaching helped me become very good writer, and writing makes me even a better teacher. Yeah, so that's what I do now, teach and write at the same time. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that wonderful answer, sir.
That answer,
So,
does that answer your question?
okay.
Yes.
Another question po, sir. As a professional teacher, what qualities do you think a new teacher should possess to captivate each student's interest?
Yeah. I would always use the analogy of teacher being a magician. I think that a teacher should be like a magician. Okay? Not in making magic with grades, but you see, a magician would bring along with him or her a bag full of tricks. Diba? The more tricks a magician would have, the more effective the magician is. Just like a teacher should also bring with her or with him a bag full of tricks. It means you have variety of techniques, of strategies, to make your class happy, fun, engaging. So you should have many tricks, and that would make you an exciting teacher because students would look forward to seeing you every day because they know you would come up with something new. I said earlier that learners learn best when they are happy. So that a new teacher should know that. A new teacher should be creative enough to come up with different and new strategies. So one good thing about teaching is that you also learn at the same time. You get to try different techniques and you get to realize which techniques or strategies work and which techniques or strategies does not work. So you don't stick to one or few strategies only. Okay, you keep on growing as a teacher. You keep on thinking of new and innovative ways to make teaching fun and engaging. So that's one. And the next one, a new teacher should always be pleasant. Okay. Um, a teacher should be rights based. I mean, a teacher should always take into consideration the rights of every learner or every child. So a child should not be embarrassed in front of the class. A child should not be shout at during class. Hindi dapat siya napapahiya, hindi dapat siya hinuhusgahan, hindi dapat siya minamaliit. A learner should not be criticized in the class, whether inside or outside the classroom. So a teacher should only be encouraging and accepting learners. So if I will train a new teacher, I will train him or her how to smile in front of a class, how to be always uh, generous. So a teacher should be generous with encouraging words instead of humiliating words. A teacher should provide positive support, not criticism to learners. I think that's what new teachers should have so that we would have our learners will become better individuals in the future. That's it.
For the last question, Mr. Well, as the year 2022 comes to a close, so technology has been more impactful than it's ever been. A lot of technology platforms has been released and are frequently used too. One of them is social media platform. As a teacher, do you find it as a relevant tool to use this different online platform as a teaching base?
Yeah. I said earlier, technology plays a crucial role in the teaching learning process now, but it should be regulated and it should be monitored. Okay. Um, yeah, I agree. It should be part. It should be one of the modalities, one of the techniques that teachers should use in teaching, but it should be monitored and it should be regulated, especially now that in so fake news is very prevalent. I mean, it's um, fake news is found mostly in social media, and and fake news would have negative effects, in the minds of people, especially children. So, um, a teacher, in if she or he uses social media, should teach learners how to identify which news are fake and which are truth, or which news are true. So they should be taught to identify fake news. And then, more importantly, learners should be taught to be critical thinkers. They should not believe everything that they see in the social media. So they should need to have a critical mind. They should look for valid and reliable sources. And they should identify which sources are not reliable and not valid. So that's a skill that they need to have. They need to ask questions. Once they see a video or a piece of information, they need to follow it follow it up with questions like, is it the truth? Okay. What is the source for that piece of information, or for that news? So they have to have that critical mind that would um, that would investigate or inquire about the source, about the validity, about the reliability of a certain news or information. Because we've seen the effect of fake news. It could destroy a government. It could destroy a nation. It could destroy a family. It could destroy a person. So we have to use social media, but with caution. And also, before using social media, we have to teach learners how to be critical thinkers and how to identify fake news and when to believe something and when not to believe something. Okay, that's it.
Again, thank you, Mr. Lodronio, for accommodating our invitation being responded during this December 17, 2022. We honor you this certificate of appreciation for your meritorious time and effort of participation and commitment to our interview session held by Rizal Technological University students.